For the Winds Productions presents A Simple Man's Brand production in conjunction with J. Hebert Studios. And now, A Simple Take with Noah Foster.
You think you know AEW? You might not know it necessarily, but on this day, you should now see clearly. For we honored a legend, a pioneer, a dreamer of the industry, Antonio Inoki, and ushered in a WWE superstar, now all elite, Adam Copeland, where strong style was defended between Eddie Kingston and Katsuyori Shibata, where strong will was demonstrated between Swerve Strickland and Heyman Adam Page, where the highest form of technical execution was presented by Brian Dales and Zack Sabre Jr. And two women look to show how much they have grown in their full potential between Chris Statlander and Julia Hart. This and so much more as we come to you 1 week removed with our simple takeaway and review on this simple take for AEW's WRESTLEDREAM. Yes, I know we are here a little later, but it is what it is. Life is what it is, but I'll go ahead and say it because it's wrestling terminology. But that's all right because we're still here to give you some talk. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to another Simple Take, courtesy of Kaze Studios, the Simple Man's brand. You know what this is, for I am the Simple Man of the Simple brand, forever grateful for professional wrestling. Damn it, and the voice of the Jam Men. And my name is Noah Foster. With me, as always, is my color analyst in all things wrestling nowadays to a degree. He is the renegade of wrestling. He is all elite. He makes an impact. He sometimes unleashes the rage. He tells you how it is. He's 100% real with you. It is the CEO of Cascading Studios, JJ Williams. Well, JJ, we pulled into the fast lane and we finally removed ourselves from the track. Now we're casually relaxing on a brisk autumn day, discussing everything that fell out from WRESTLEDREAM. Good to see you once again, my friend. Now that we finally got a relaxing week ahead of us for wrestling after Tuesday night. But how are you feeling now that we are literally 1 week removed from this All Elite program?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm sore.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted, man, but I wasn't going to miss this for anything in the world. I apologize for having to push things back just a smidge.
Fine.
As you're always so fond of saying, priorities over passions. You know, I had to pick up some slack around here this morning with my girl being ill. So just had to push things back just a smidge. But yes, I'm looking forward to getting into this, discussing WRESTLEDREAM. A week removed, we've had time to fully digest and process.
Yeah.
And, you know, give it the proverbial swish around the mouth, see how it hits all the taste buds before we jump in and start speaking on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel that's very important because while you get the impression of what WRESTLEDREAM could be, it becomes an annual ongoing showcase. It really brought more forward in the fallout. And sometimes pay-per-view to that degree doesn't necessarily do that. I felt this one kind of did, and I can appreciate that. And for those that are tuning in live on demand, we thank you all, as always, for you make this possible to allow us to bring you our passion and our presentations. Your continued support that encourages us to continue to try and encourage you to just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling too. So please, let's got a comment, tell a friend. If you want to dictate the conversation, as Mr. Reliable says, donate to dictate, Super Chat, Cascading Studios. It is truly as simple as that. So without further ado, JJ, let's go ahead and get right into it. I think we'll briefly go through the presentation itself. I like the aesthetics with the setups. Of course, they were in the hometown of Defy Wrestling Promotion that has defined the likes of Nick Wayne, Darby Allin, Swerve Strickland, and of course, Seattle, the home of the Seahawks and One American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and Prince Nana, of course, wanted to get in the money. And of course, also we had Aubrey Edwards. But more importantly, here we were to honor a visionary, a pioneer in Antonio Inoki. heavy influence across the wrestling industry in and out of his own company, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Discipline in all the styles, whether it's strong style, whether it's technical style, and we also that demonstrated with the current crop in this roster that had a lot to take away from him. Before we get into the actual wrestling action, of course, they honored the man himself, Antonio Inoki, who, of course, Tony Khan, Rocky Romero, and the grandsons of Inoki, all bearing, of course, that traditional scarf that demonstrates, of course, Inokiism and his strong spirit. And they talked about how great he was, and through him, dreaming really became a reality in this industry on a global scale. A man that wanted to bring professional wrestling to a global front and challenge it to even be up there, if not surpass, combat sports. You wouldn't think an individual like him would have the balls to challenge Muhammad Ali. You wouldn't think somebody like him would try and bring peace to North Korea, bring in professional wrestling. You wouldn't think an individual like him would try and demonstrate the strongest spirit possible using our refined athletes in the likes of Bob Backlund, Hulk Hogan, Brock Lesnar, Big Man Vader. You would not think a man like him would try to bridge styles of both striking and grappling with the likes of Carl Gotch and Billy Robinson. He did all that and more, and his legacy now lives on 51 years later with the company he started in 1972, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And of course, we demonstrate the principles of New Japan Pro Wrestling throughout the entire industry, this show included. So, from a presentation standpoint, what was your thoughts on the opening ceremony honoring Antonio Inoki?
I really enjoyed the opening ceremony. I thought it was a nice, classy touch from Tony Khan. My question about it, if there is one thing to question his judgment about, and maybe this is just nitpicky, but it seems like he's really trying lately to help get AEW over at the expense of fallen legends who never touched AEW.
Mm.
You know, 2 years now we've had the Owen tournament. Now we have WrestleDream to honor Antonio Inoki. Granted, AEW has a partnership with New Japan, but to my knowledge, Antonio Inoki never appeared in AEW. You know, so why would Tony Khan continually insist on trying to cash in and make money off of other people's names? And it's something that's really gone back and forth in my head a little bit, because I think back to an episode of the No DQ review where one of the panelists criticized Vince McMahon for attempting to make money off of Owen Hart, but at least Owen Hart wrestled for the World Wrestling Federation.
Mm-hmm.
Owen Hart has never wrestled for AEW because he's been gone long before there was even a twinkle in Tony's eye to start an AEW. So, as much as I enjoyed the presentation and the opening ceremony, and I thought that it was well done and classy, the back of my mind, I'm wondering why isn't Tony Khan doing a Brody Lee tournament every year? Someone who was an active member of the roster, was a TNT champion, did lead the Dark Order, did have an influence in the company, and instead he's trying to make money off of other people's names.
I think it's one of those things that goes back again to the whole practice of wrestling business. And there is no doubt in my mind, he may have just wanted to do this from the heart as well, because everyone knows verbatim, the man has demonstrated he is truly a fan. Why Vince McMahon was always a businessman, and he did focus on everything he did in his own company, in his own IP that he created. Tony Khan more so is about honoring, demonstrating, and presenting. And as far as business practices go, if you could actually make money off of it, I think it's also a sound strategy. But to your point, I do kind of find it interesting that the biggest loss you've had in your company within itself was Brody Lee. And while you tribute and honor his memory, there really hasn't been nothing commemorable to him. Then you go to the other side of the coin, where Amanda Hubert, of course, the wife of the late great Brody Lee, helps guide and leads the community efforts of AEW. But it is a very fair take, and it is one of those things where also it might be pushing that idea that Tony Khan is working with the leaders of New Japan Pro Wrestling, whether it's Gato, whether it was Shigebayashi, or whether it's Obari, or whether it's some of the talent themselves, like Rocky Romero, who has heavy influence also. You wonder if this is something that maybe they wanted to do together. I mean, again, they literally did this 1 year to the day of his passing. And of course, Rocky Romero, he was heavily involved in the funeral and of course the overall notification of that news that broke out last year. You saw representatives from Pro Wrestling Noah and New Japan Pro Wrestling and even All Japan Pro Wrestling presented at Antonio Inoki's funeral and honoring, not included, not limited to Kento Miyahara, Kaito Kiyomiya, and of course Vladimir Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. I like to think it's like two mindsets. At the end of the day, he respects the legacy of professional wrestling, but he also has to run a business. And I think sometimes that's where the judgment is still to this day obscure. It does make me wonder, though, like next year, are we going to continue honoring Owen Hart with the Owen Hart Foundation charter for both men and women? And will you still, of course, have Dr. Martha Hart there, part of the presentation? Will WrestleDream become an annual spectacle? And who else will you dedicate looking at a great pioneer of the industry to, whether they're here now, whether they're Hall of Famer, whether they're retired, or whether you think they made an impact, an association on like an anniversary milestone or some point related to what we're going into 2024. It's one of those things where everything I can say about AEW and the love showcase of professional wrestling, damn it, and the possibilities. I did not expect Tony Khan to go out there with Antonio Inoki. I would think that he would do something maybe with Jushin Thunder Liger or maybe, talk about WCW. I know Michael Satomura is in WWE, but at this point, I don't even know what she's doing. So it is one of those things that I do find interesting, but I really think this was not solely on Tony Khan, because when you do have those relationships with business partners, you have to stay in constant communication with them, and you also have to make people more aware of them. And I do think more people are aware of New Japan Pro Wrestling because of the connections with AEW. And I think this just further escalated. It started with Forbidden Door. Now you have WrestleDream. Who knows where they go from here, and who knows how much this will influence the talent you might see at Wrestle Kingdom 18.
It's fair.
Again, though, it's a very fair, unbiased, honest, open analysis. You look at it from a business perspective. You look at it from a moral perspective. Which one played more in the end? We will never know because we don't work for AEW or NJPW. But it does lead a lot of speculation and brings conversation. And at the end of the day, it didn't come off to me as this is brought to you by the passing of somebody that's dead, unlike other stuff we see in other companies that's become more obscure on screen, but I digress. Go check out our watch along on Fastlink, folks. But that being said, yeah, I really appreciated what they did here as a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was subtle. It was simple. It opened before anything else took place. I respect what Tony Khan did. And again, to Antonio Inoki, arigato. All right, let's go ahead and briefly talk about the 0 Hour, because I think the most critical points is the fact that Keith Lee is truly limitless with that ridiculous Hurricane Rana takeover, how much Billy Starks continue to rise. And by the way, congratulations to 18-year-old Billy Starks and Nick Wayne, who not only are all elite, but took place part of this pay-per-view at 18 years old. That is an incredibly young milestone. The sky's the limit for both these two incredibly young, promising talents. As Billy Starks continues minion training under Athena, we continue to see the fallout from Pretty Boy Killers, renewed AEW and Ring of Honor now with Keith Lee and Shane Taylor. Of course, Lee Moriarty will be the stepping stone towards that Immortal one-on-one that I cannot wait for. We saw, of course, the acclaimed session routine against TMDKs, Shane Hayes, Big Teats, Bad Dude Tito, and Mikey Nichols. We saw Luchasaurus break Nick Wayne in half, being the most dominant big man right now in AEW up to this point, in my opinion, and best presented. And of course, the best part of the 0 Hour, and there's still debate, why was this on 0 Hour? It should have been part of the show. You wonder what the mindset, what the future is of Claudio. Claudio Castagnoli went one-on-one, catch-as-catch-can clinic, physical war with the War Master himself, NCI's own, Josh Barnett. And Josh Barnett says he went in there with 0, not knowing anything, and now believes truly everything that Claudio Castagnoli is and still can be. If nothing else from the 0 Hour comes back I hope Josh Burnett does, and we run him and Claudio back. That was so damn good.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, there's some other people that disagree with how great that was, as you know, quote unquote respected journalists only gave that match 2 stars. I'm
Yeah.
curious what the hell they were watching, but I digress. But yeah, that was a clinic and it was a damn good match.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And again, the Zero gave you a little bit of everything. The men, the women, AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, a nice little taste of what you could see being presented across the board from, again, this young, up and rising roster with great veterans of the game in and out of AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I thought it was a nice way to just bring us in. And there was good flow with all 4 matches. But again, does the 0 Hour need 4 matches? Maybe not. Maybe 2, 3 at the most. But it's one of those things where it's like hindsight's 2020. Plus, I always will pop for Satoshi Kojima Laureato. Just saying. Bread. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get right into the actual pay-per-view. As Madman Tony Khan, again, you talk about quantity versus quality. You talk about booking decisions. You talk about length. Again, the thing about the AEW pay-per-views, though, they keep just going through, and each match gives what it needs to. And that's why I don't really give a bad hindsight on AEW pay-per-view. They've hit all points since 2021's Revolution botch. And that's the only bad blemish in AEW pay-per-view history, as long as you haven't followed the politics. But I digress. So we're
Accurate.
not going to necessarily go in order because I think the way that we did it, their predicting, kind of justifies our stance. But it still was a lot of fun across the matches. I will at least go with the opening match because I think we both agreed this was going to be the opener. And the Devil was welcome in Seattle. And simply put, JJ, the Devil delivered. His partner was not God, unlike Backlash. His partner was not Divine Intervention. But somehow Maxwell Jacob Friedman defeated Dutch and Vincent of the Righteous and retained the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. And everything he said beforehand, he fulfilled. This was truly a one-man show. And once again, MJF proves that he's better, not only than the Righteous, but you, and you know it. This was unique, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. I still question the decision to have Max retain on his own because now it almost sets it up as being unbelievable when they do in fact lose the belts.
Right?
You know, I'm not the biggest fan of the Righteous, but I feel like the way they've been pushing them, they should have been able to dethrone Max 2-on-1.
Just the numbers game alone would justify that, you would think.
Yeah, plus their zaniness, their mind games, like Max is pretty damn good, and to his point, he is better than you and you know it.
Baby.
But to still try and have him overcome those odds, it's going to take something major now to make their defeat believable. Is Max going to continue to defend them solo while Cole is out with this injury, kayfabe or not, until we get the trigger pulled on that? If so, what's going to happen with the AEW championship? Is it going to continue to get pushed to the back burner in order to make the ROH tag titles mean more? What are the long-term repercussions of having Max retain here?
Well, to your point, like we saw on the Fallout, now that we're 8 days removed, we know necessarily at least one of the causes, but it's the more important cause that's related to MJF, and that is, of course, the AEW World Championship that he currently doesn't even have possession of right now, since Switchblade Jay White uphanded him for it and blamed him, guns up, folks, blamed him for the attack. And we still don't know how that's going to come into play. Meanwhile, Adam Cole is playing on the latest sitcom on TBS called Feng Shui with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. And we're wondering how long that sitcom is going to run for. And when will MJF force Adam Cole's choice? Or when will Adam Cole have a forced choice of will between his undisputed brother and his brochacha potentially for life? Baby. That remains to be seen. At the end of the day, I'm still waiting on the end game being better than you, baby, versus the Kingdom. But for the time being, when you explode your ankle in 3 places, you're just going to have to put that on hiatus. And as far as the Righteous goes, They still are a mainstay tag team of Ring of Honor. And yeah, like you said, the zaniest, the demonstration of mind games, the tag team cohesion, even MJF at times looking for a partner and having a realization, oh shit, I don't have nobody in my corner. And the people are willing him on. He gave us a freaking body slam heard around the world. He gave us the kangaroo kick. He shoved Vincent straight up Dutch's derriere. And at the end of the day, our scumbag won with leverage on the ropes outside the Red's vision, but got the win and overcame the righteous. It's one of those things, though, where again, does MJF need to be a double champion, especially when he's holding down this tag team saga on his own? I still lean towards no, but also the devil's tendencies. What's more important to him at this point? And how much has Maxwell Jacob Freeman turned over a new leaf before his ugly mug shows up again? Again, Full Gear marks 1 year to the day that Maxwell Jacob Freeman became the AEW World Champion. And if he makes it, which apparently he will up to this point, he will be the longest reigning AEW World Champion in this company's history. But now he's facing as much of a devious, manipulative counterpuncher in Switchblade Jay White. That's his greatest contest to date. And Jay White has a very, very real chance to leave Full Gear as the new AEW World Champion. So not only does MJF have to figure about where his Brochato is and the fact that he's doing this right now on his own, and you can tell he can't stand it, but he has to consider right now he's never been in more danger of losing what's most precious to him, the Triple B. But hey, kudos to MJF and Divine Intervention. Still our Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion, and you know it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and change up some gears here towards the continuing, I would say, growth or arrival of the Don Callis family. And in fact, this was semi-main, but even then, this match, Kota Ibushi just feels still so out of place, and that's because he's not 100%, by the way, folks. But as we saw in this six-man showcase, it was the Golden Jets and Kota Ibushi, or you can say the Golden Lovers and Chris Jericho, however you want to say it. They took on the Don Callis family, a united front of Sammy Guevara, the current IWGP United Kingdom Heavyweight Champion Will Ospreay, and Konosuke Takeshita. And it was about as much as you would expect from these six men in a six-man contest. Everybody got their shots in. The Don Callis family ran more ramp shot here, I think, during this match. And at the end of the day, the Don Callis family, they once again prove right now they are the force to be reckoned with. And literally, they might be the new elite, with the new alpha christened by him himself. With Floyd the Baseball Bat assistant, not only the Don sticking to Chris Jericho again, but Sammy Guevara got the pin. And by the way, Sammy Guevara suffered a concussion. Sammy Guevara, get well soon. And as we learned during the fallout, the Don Callis family continues to expand, courtesy of that pin I got imagined by the talented Mel Coleman. Please follow her on the X. X going to give it to you. I don't have Twix, but I digress. And we're seeing this continued saga of the Alpha and Omega trying to take out Cyrus the Virus. And right now, they are literally on the back foot. And Kota Ibushi, was he just there because this dude's ran pro wrestling? Are they trying to bring him in? How's Kota Ibushi's mindset? I mean, this is the guy that literally explodes fireworks on his chest. Either way, JJ, I look at the six-man tag. It was fun, but honestly, this probably could have been saved for Dynamite because at the end of the day, the Don Callis family continues their forceful hand, courtesy of the visible hand, and all is going to plan. But still, I thought it was a decent six-man match, bro.
It definitely was a decent enough match. I agree with you that it probably could have been saved for Dynamite or, hell, let's put it on Title Tuesday since there's 4 non-title matches and only 2 with titles.
But you digress.
But, or we could have had it on their 4th anniversary show. It was a good match. The story got told that needed to get told. The Don Callis family still seems like it's untouchable.
Right.
Ospreay is apparently the newest member, as he was in the Last Supper graphic. We saw on Dynamite this week, Powerhouse Hobbs supposedly now is aligned with the Callis family. We won't know for sure until we see the latest Last Supper graphic with his imagery in it.
Exactly. And hear his theme and see if Don Callis is in his corner or on commentary. I don't think Collision even confirmed it at this point.
One of the things that kind of caught me off guard, and again, nitpicking here, take a look at that graphic again, and Will Ospreay, who was added at the last minute, is front and center in this image, over Takeshita, who was the first recruit of this new Don Callis family.
Yeah, that's a good point. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay are at the front center. It does make you wonder, though, does Don Callis look at Will Ospreay as the strongest member of the Don Callis family? And the Alpha right now is just his prototype.
Yeah, like you can understand Omega being in the middle of the other side.
Oh, definitely. You kidding me?
But you would expect Takeshita to be front and center since he is, at least in a lot of people's minds, up until the addition of Ospreay, the leader of this unit. So I did find that interesting. I wonder if that's going to play a part in things down the road, if that's going to lead to some tension between Ospreay and Takeshita that may play out on AEW television. Not right away, obviously, because we're still building this family, but we talk about eventually one of the 12, if they go with a full set of disciples for Don Callis, like the Last Supper imagery, one of them has to be Judas. Who's going to be the Judas? And while it would make sense to an extent for Sammy Guevara to be that person, having come out to Judas alongside Jericho for a good chunk of his run in AEW.
And Jericho even called him the Judas.
If Takeshita keeps getting pushed to the side in favor of Ospreay, Takeshita could end up being the Judas. And we'll have to see, again, how things progress. We're still, like, you want to talk about third inning. We're like bottom of the first still as far as this Don Callis story goes. Like, we've got a long time because if we're going to get to 12 disciples, it's not going to be overnight. It won't even be by full gear, I don't think. I don't think it'll be till Revolution at the soonest that we'll get all 12.
Yeah. And that might come down more so to what will Ospreay choose to do in 2024, knowing his contract's coming up in NJPW. And Sammy Guevara right now, he is out on injury. Get well soon. Konosuke Takeshita will go one-on-one with Chris Jericho in DDT Pro next month in November. Thank you, by the way, for that correction, Elizabeth. Shout out to my great friend, Sandy. And also at this point, the Alpha right now is being protected. The Alpha right now has not been pinned, has not been submitted, has been absolutely dominant with explosive speed and power, and his perfect execution of the German suplex. Why the Alpha and Omega on the other side, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, maybe teasing the idea of forming a tag team called the Golden Jets and continuing this front to try and take down, at the end of the day, Don Callis. But to get to Don Callis, you have to go through his disciples at this point. And to your point right now, we know, even though one's injured, we know 4 of them. There's still 8 others. And you do wonder who will be the Judas to this Lucifer, for being perfectly honest, because this man is no saint. But I guess we'll have to see what happens come Title Tuesday between Powerhouse Hobbs and Chris Jericho when they face off for the first time ever. And boy, is that a huge acquisition. The Book of Hobbs with a new chapter of destruction. It does get more destructive right now than the Don Callis family.
Absolutely.
Well,
like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. This is a very intriguing storyline that AEW is playing out, and it very well could be in time their equivalent to the Bloodline, if played right.
But the keyword if. Execution is everything. Perception is key. And speaking of perception, who would have thought in this day and age you would see somebody that doesn't look like he should be in the ring, should be at this point, but has demonstrated so much honor and respect for the arts, the discipline, the legacy of the roots of Japanese professional wrestling, taking on the very student of freaking Antonio Inoki himself. let's go ahead and talk about what really was a sleeper and it really was a standout match. And Eddie Kingston had pointed out, this wasn't going to be your traditional type match. Me and Shibata, we're going to do this thing because we respect Antonio Inoki, man. We respect Japanese wrestling. I'm King's Road. He's strong style. And both men demonstrated that in what was truly mostly a very physical contest. It tested will. It tested endurance. It tested Eddie Kingston's jawline, for being perfectly honest. Katsuyori Shibata, the machine that you thought you would not see wrestle since 2017, nearly suffering a life-threatening injury to the brain. Our current Ring of Honor Pure Champion went up against the Mad King, the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Strong Openweight Champion, Eddie Kingston. And what these two demonstrated and what these two are able to unleash on one another and still sit together afterwards in just honoring Inoki and nod of respect, presenting Shibata the ring. This was one of my favorite matches of the night. I absolutely enjoyed this strong style slugfest. And Eddie Kingston demonstrates once again how important professional wrestling was to literally keep him ahead and save his life. And again, who would have thought to see Katsuyori Shibata wrestle on pay-per-view in 2023? That just warms my heart. Inoki be proud. These men demonstrated everything Antonio Inoki stood for. And what Eddie Kingston, of course, represents. Shout out to Hiro Kawada, winning, of course, with the power bomb, trying to win with the Northern Lights bomb. It was a very, very game match by both these two competitors. And again, at this point, I gotta wonder, when am I getting the Katsuyori Shibata's All Elite graphic? I'm just saying.
This match was better than I expected it to be because it's no secret that I'm not a big fan of Eddie Kingston. Outcome was pretty much what I expected because I didn't expect Eddie to lose the belts after just obtaining them. I didn't expect Shibata to leave as a triple champion.
Triple crown in America. Imagine that, though. That'd be a moment.
But it was good. It was solid. And it was better than I expected.
Of course, Eddie Kingston will be defending his NWA Strong Openweight Championship at Fighting Spirit Unleashed in Las Vegas, I believe, later this month and that next month, against Hinare of the United Empire. And Katsuyori Shibata right now, he remains untouchable as the current Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Still yet to use a single rope break and still successful in all of his defenses since winning the title back at the Before Dishonor against Wheeler Yuta, putting that young boy to school. Katsuyori Shibata is something special, even if he can't really speak English. But I really enjoyed this match for what it was worth, what both men brought. So, again, mad respect to both, and congrats to Eddie Kingston. It was one of those matches that I think people, like you said, they underestimated based on the decision, but the presentation execution is what people will carry on with it. The audience was pretty much for it the whole entire time, to the point that people thought Katsuyori Shibata was going to beat the Mad King after PKing him, and then the fall freaking Hurricane spinning back fist, and then Katsuyori Shibata, strong will demonstrate, keep that at one, and Eddie Kingston still couldn't put the man down. But I wouldn't get to see Katsuyori Shibata back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, though. Hey, Shikabayashi, are you noticing he can wrestle? Just saying. Get him back the never overweight title. Anyway, for those that don't know, I don't give a shit about David Finlay and his Bullet Club. Blech. I hope Tama Tonga wins tomorrow on Ryogoku. All right. Well, speaking of winners and winning, let's go ahead and talk about this match where, JJ, I'm going to let you spearhead this because at the end of the day, we talk about all the time. What do we at the Championship, what does we are most critical about when it comes to this industry?
The Young Bucks?
What?
The Young Bucks?
Well, yeah, there's that, but I figured we talk about a positive thing before we get into the real talk. So let's go ahead and talk about the potential presented in AEW's women's division. Because respect women's professional wrestling, damn it. As the Empress, or Princess, whatever you want to call her, of the Black Throne, Julia Hart looked to show she was more than a little girl, as if she hasn't shown that already with over a 500-day undefeated streak, just saying, against the current TBS champion, where it's been at, with Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander and Julia Hart demonstrated the potential they have grown, created, presented, and how far they still can come. This was a tremendous TBS championship match, and all that Julia Hart, only thing that left Julia Hart without the title was the awareness of that moonsault. I guarantee you, if she would have grabbed that leg away from the rope, and you saw her try to, Julia Hart would have won for the house and Stat would have been dethroned. I don't think business is done with these two, but this was Julia Hart's greatest match to date, and Chris continues to show how much she's grown to become more than woman and deserves to be called TBS champion. For the only women's match on this main card, both delivered.
Yeah, I agree. I I won't say I was impressed with Stat because if I'm being honest to myself, I've never not been impressed with her.
Mm-hmm.
I just have questioned the booking choices made with her from TK and the other bookers. But Julia really impressed the shit out of me. I've seen her do some stuff here in the last year and a half, and it seems like with every match that she gets in the ring, she's exponentially better than the last time I saw her. And that's the right way to do it. If you're not constantly trying to better yourself, better your game, better your approach, then just hang your boots up and get out of the business.
Not bad for a 21-year-old adult, not little girl, in my opinion, who only has been involved in the wrestling industry for 3 years, and this was her first ever singles pay-per-view match.
Yeah. I mean, in comparison, and I know we try to allow brands to stand on their own, but I would put her right there as far as impressing me next to Tiffany Stratton. Yeah, you figure Tiffany has been in the game for 2 years, and she's a former world champion. Granted, under the NXT brand, but still, she's a former world champion. Julia will get there. I hoped and thought that this would be her evening. Alas, it wasn't so.
One moment.
But in the words of Clarice from the Rankin Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer special, there's always tomorrow for dreams to come true.
Well said, especially at WrestleDream when Julia Hart, I think, was Chris Statlander's nightmare. My God, that right fist, though, punching the mist out of Julia Hart's mouth. Good Lord. Again, the biggest power player in the AEW women's roster right now until Jamie Hayter returns. I'm a hater. Get well soon, Jamie Hayter. And again, Chris Statlander coming off double knee replacement surgery at this point. Been undefeated, presenting this title, defending it across Collision, Dynamite, and Rampage, overcoming the greats in Jay Cargill at 100%. Both women's greatest match to date. And of course, coming over Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, finally. And of course, the doctor right now is focusing on her dentistry. All the best to Britt. And of course, as we saw, she's willing to take on all comers anytime, anywhere, any place. Someone step up to Stat because that's where it's at. Julia Hart continues to showcase a strong character, grows in confidence, and widens her offense. Beautiful spider suplex. She trapped her in the Heartless, but at the end of the day, the power and the will of the champion persevered against the House of Black, even with Brody King at ringside. And why Chris Statler was very critical about that, you saw post-match that Chris was going to try and maybe get Julia Hart up, but Brody King was going to have none of it. At the end of the day, these two stood out on their own, and they delivered. And I think that's what's most important when you're trying to really show you're trying to create stars, you're trying to find a championship, and you might be creating a longer story. Again, I do not think Julia Hart and Chris Statler are done with each other. And what I've seen on Ring of Honor lately with the newfound aggressive nature and less smiling of one Will Nightingale and Sky Blue, maybe Julia Hart's doing more for the house than meets the eye. And Chris Statler needs to be on guard. Just saying. Either way, tremendous match by both. And Chris Statler continues to show why she's more than a woman. But Julia Hart, she's going to continue to grow more and more. And she's already way more than a little girl. She's just an uncrowned princess of the Black Throne. The house will win, but in demonstrating potential, the house did win at WrestleDream.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, you did want to talk about something real talk. We talked about something positive. Now let's go ahead and get critical because let's go ahead and talk about this match that was a fatal four-way for a anytime they want shot at the AEW World Tag Team Championships. As we had a fatal four-way number one contendership match. It was the Young Bucks, the Guns, the Lucha Brothers, and Orange Cassidy and Hook. Going in here, Orange Cassidy and Hook, they not only were the only team that have never been AEW World Tag Team Champions, but they also were the team with the most potential and the most momentum. The Lucha Brothers, of course, the Young Bucks, they literally will fight forever. They've been fighting since AAA. And unfortunately, due to, I think, an injury that kept him out, it pretty much was an audible call, I think, for the Lucha Brothers, as Penta pretty much was fighting a handicap match. The Guns, under the influence of the counter puncher that picked their spots all the time, and Switchblade Jay White, no Rock Hard Juice Robinson, or Card Blade, or Switchboard, or whatever the hell that thing's called, not in their corner. They came very close, but they couldn't get it done. At the end of the day, and even my all elite brother echoes your sentiments and your fears, JJ, the Young Bucks won. Now, let's talk about first why we think Orange Cassidy and Hook should have won, why the Guns maybe should have won, and you can go ahead and talk about, again, how the Young Bucks won and what you think's to come. But maybe there's a monkey wrench more than meets the eye. Because now, for those that didn't watch Collision, spoiler alert, in 3, 2, 1, they got effing squashed in less than 5 minutes. And your new AEW World Tag Team Champions at this moment are absolute Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Think about that. Big Bill, the former Big Cass. 7 foot tall, you can't teach that. How you doing? He and Enzo Amore could never become tag champions in WWE or NXT. Big Bill and Ricky Starks have done it. And I would dare say Big Bill has not been booked better since being part with Ricky Starks. And now he's a champion. So how's that for hindsight? So right now, if they want to call their shot, JJ, you'll be getting Enzo Ricky Starks and Big Bill versus the Young Bucks. So why don't you go ahead and talk about the aspect and the future of the AEW Tag Team Division? The floor is yours, my friend.
Okay.
Hey.
First of all, let me say, Big Bill and Ricky Starks becoming champions surprised the shit out of me.
Right? I got that prediction wrong. Damn.
Like, I understand the push that Ricky Starks is getting, but Big Bill could have ate the pinfall.
That's what I'm thinking.
And not squashed Ricky's momentum. Because the money match is the Bucks and FTR again. Not the Bucks versus Ricky Starks and Big Bill. It almost seems like it's too easy now that my plan is going to come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it.
The
Lucha Brothers, I never thought were going to win. They were completely out of the equation for me.
Well, considering Ray Phoenix is already a singles champion and will be defending that title on Title Tuesday now that we know.
Well, yeah, and then we saw him take the bump during the match and was pretty much gone for a good chunk of the match.
I think he was gone for the entire rest of it, JJ. He wasn't even on the freaking apron.
No. Once he took that bump and got hurt, he was done. And yet somehow, some way, he still managed to successfully defend his title against Nick Jackson on Dynamite this week, which again, thank you, Ray Phoenix. Thank you. But I totally didn't see it coming. I thought Ray was going to drop it. Especially after seeing him get taken out of that match. So, eliminate them right off the gate. So that left us with Hook and Cassidy, the Guns, and the team who should not be named that actually won. The Guns had their run. And while I think another run with the straps, especially now that they're Bullet Club Gold, would have increased their profile, I still see them as being the ones that are going to take the trios titles from the Acclaimed so they can run that back.
Rock hard.
Especially since Daddy Ass is one part of the trios champs. You have the Guns, his boys, be the ones to take the straps from him and essentially end his run. And let's be real. Bullshit storylines aside, you don't think that Monty wants to do that for his kids?
Is that a real question?
But seriously, I mean, we can talk all day about storylines and booking and heels versus faces, but Billy Gunn, the father, has no problem with his shoulders to the mat to put his kids over. Let's be real. I mean, how much more poetic would it be?
Considering, again, I think that this Scissoring World Tour is Billy Gunn's last ride.
Yeah. Like, the Guns already proved they could defeat the Acclaimed.
Yep.
They need to get over on their old man.
Yep.
So that then leaves Hook and Orange Cassidy versus them. And as cool as Hook and Orange Cassidy look with each other, too new.
Yeah.
Too new.
Yeah, you're right.
If this match happened at Full Gear and they had had a few matches under their belt, maybe could have thrown it their way because they would have had some time. But kind of like Better Than You, Baby. They had the blind tag tournament where they were thrown together. They won. They lost their shot at the AEW titles. But then when they got the shot at the Ring of Honor titles, they won. You know? It's two. Gotta get some wins under their belts.
Fair enough. I mean, they were getting wins, but to your point, they have not been traditional tag matches. They've been 6 or 8, so that's fair. It does make me wonder, though, at this point, you got two of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Relaxed, unique individuals, kind of at a mutual point of respect. And one of them has a champion not even recognized officially by AEW.
Right? Although, you know, it gets defended a hell of a lot on TV for not being recognized. I'm surprised it's not on Title Tuesday.
Yeah, that's a good point. Doesn't mean Tony Khan won't add it. But then again, who's going to step up this point to Hook?
Well, I doubt Tony will add it. We've already got 6 matches announced for Dynamite. That's about its limit.
Usually, yeah, with promos and stuff. Yeah, you're right. You're right there. It's one of those things, though, where, again, I still say, conventions aside, just call it Dynamite Tuesday. I mean, NXT is just literally just calling itself NXT. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Yes. And then, of course, that leads us with They Who Won the Match.
I was about to say, you didn't talk about one team.
Because I'm trying to stay calm. I've already had a rough morning where I've been wound up, but kind of been on edge.
Tranquilo.
So I'm trying not to be super venomous.
I respect that.
But at the end of the day, they have a show coming up in Ontario, California, which is literally the next city over from Rancho Cucamonga.
Which, for those that don't know, that's the Young Bucks' hometown. Stay tuned for City Predicting on that and so much more. Got to update this graphic. Continue.
Roughly a 10-minute drive away from where the arena is going to be. And then 3 days later, see Dynamite, see it Thursday. Yeah, 3 days later.
Correct.
They're going to be at the Forum in Los Angeles.
The Fabulous Forum.
Just a few miles down the freeway from the same Jewish community center that two other tag team champions used to wrestle in and kind of cut their teeth out here in SoCal in, who won championships right next door to the Forum earlier this year at SoFi Stadium.
PWG represent, for those that don't know.
You want to talk about... Go ahead, copy my homework. Just change it a little so it's not so noticeable. Tony, you fucked up. We can see you're copying the homework. The Young Bucks, either in Ontario or at the Forum, become tag champions again. Right next door to the same venue where Steen and Generico, Owens and Zayn did it earlier this year. Just a few miles down the road from the Jewish Community Center in Los Feliz that all of them made their names in originally. History repeats themselves to wrap up AEW's last major show of the year.
As far as we know, with what we talked about Open Mic Night, please go check that out, folks. And the whole HBO, I'm still calling it what it is, Max deal potentially happening, especially with Danhausen, talking about Danhausen on TV app with the Max logo, Danhausen, very nice, very evil.
Which don't get me started on that Danhausen promo from Dynamite. That shit was hilarious. And it was hilarious to me on levels. I know you're not the biggest movie guy, so you probably don't get the reference.
Probably not.
But when we get off the air here, go to YouTube and look up Halloween 3 Silver Shamrock commercial. That is essentially exactly what the Danhausen promo was.
Oh, Lord.
Because that commercial, it's happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Very, very, very nice, very nice, very nice, very, very, very nice, very evil.
Oh, God.
It was the same shit.
That's brilliant.
And me, being a horror movie fan, being a Halloween fan, Jeff, having gone to a Halloween 45 convention last week, we're sitting here losing our shit because Danhausen's a freaking idiot using some Halloween shit to get himself over.
He looks like a character you would dress up as for Halloween. Let's just be honest.
Exactly.
Here.
But yes, unfortunately, and it wasn't even like it was unpredictable. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I don't know how many people voted for the Bucks in your league, but like for me, it was as easy of a match to call as the main event of Fastlane. Or what should have been the main event, excuse me. Cena and LA Knight versus Jimmy and Solo. Like that match was so easy to call. It was the easiest match on the show to call. That's what this match was for me. I know they're coming to SoCal. We know the Bucks are from SoCal. They're going to be in Ontario, just down the street from Rancho Cucamonga, which is where they hail from. Their big pay-per-view is going to be at the Forum, right next to SoFi, right down the street from the Jewish Community Center. All signs point to the Bucks getting the belts again.
Oh,
and yes, Keen Mike, I can't stand them either.
Well, yeah, let me go.
It's like betting against Roman Reigns right now. Yeah, you don't bet against Roman Reigns. You don't bet against the Bucks in SoCal.
I'm still on that tirade from 39, but I digress.
I know. I really want to go to the show in Ontario because it's literally straight down the hill from me.
Right.
But I don't go to shows alone. I like to go with friends, and nobody else is able to go.
Fair.
And I really don't want to see them win the titles. Unfortunately, what I think is probably going to happen, while what makes sense is to do Ricky and Big Bill versus the Bucks at the Forum. Like I said, that's not the money match.
No.
So you either do that at the Forum or you do that in Ontario. Give them the belts. And then, depending on what the cryptic message from FTR means, it's been a hell of a run, top guys out. Are they done with AEW? Are they just referencing their title victory, and run? What is, we need to read into that some? Not too sure. So you either do FTR Bucks at the Forum, or if they are in fact gone, I think you do the Bucks versus, I want to say Bullet Club Gold, but Jay White's probably going to get his title match at the Forum.
About to say, he's the main event right now
Yeah.
of Full Gear. So we got our first match for Full Gear. So unless you're trying to book all of Bullet Club, you already are trying to book Bullet Club Gold for Trios Championships with the Acclaim and Daddy Ass. That books the Guns and Rock Hard.
Yeah.
Robinson. So
I'm not sure who
leaves
you put
out.
them up against then, because the money match is against FTR.
Yeah. The only other team I could think of, based on California, based on history, based on selling, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me this is a triple threat, because last time the Bucks were involved in triple threat for the AWR Tag Team Championships, they lost them to Swerve and Keith Lee. Swerve, we'll talk about here shortly. I gotta think about right now. Again, was Ray Phoenix simply just an audible? Especially right now, we don't know the sustainment of his shoulder. Give the tab to John Moxley. It is what it is. The AW National Championship's been fucked up since John Moxley lost it. Sorry, not sorry. It's just what it is. And then the Lucha Brothers are freed up once again to pursue the AW Tag Team Championships. I say you make it a triple threat. Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers, Ricky Starks, and Big Bill. That's about as much money as you're going to get. FTR is not going to be clear to compete. Or they're taking time off. That's the best I could think of right now when it comes to the AEW, the tag team division. Because like you said, Hook and Orange Cassidy are way too new. I don't know what's next for both, but right now I don't think they need to pursue the AEW Tag Team Championships. Maybe continue the tag team dynamic. If nothing else, it's kind of fun watching Hook eat actual different bags of chips backstage from Paquette. I want to see him just have a different bag of chips. We had Doritos. We had now classic Lay's. Let's get some Fritos in there, just saying. But yeah, at this point, I probably would just, do something different. We're in California. Focus on your California teams. Focus on PWG roots. You can't do FTR and the Young Bucks because you got Ricky Starks and Big Bill now holding the straps. Turn into a triple threat. Because as far as I'm concerned, you want to protect Ricky Starks, especially you want to keep booking Big Bill strong. Now they're tag champs. You kind of don't want the Big Bill and Ricky Starks, I think, to eat the fall immediately in that match against the Bucks, because Young Bucks versus Big Bill, Ricky Starks on paper in California, who are you going to go with? Just saying. And by the way, to your point, I looked at the poll. Get this. Across 67 votes outside our All Elite team, half the people voted for Orange Cassidy and Hook. Your Young Bucks were the third least at 20%.
And not only the only reason for that has got to be that people are over the Bucks.
Possibly.
Because with that kind of evidence just stamped on your forehead, like, how do you go against them unless you're just that over them? They've already got the
Ring of Honor 6-man World Tag Team Championship.
Thank you. I thought they had a trios title, but I knew it was an AEW. Yeah, they've already got the Ring of Honor trios titles. Nick had a shot against the international title. Now they're going to get a shot for the world tag team titles, and there's a lot of people like myself that are still pissed off regarding their behavior when it comes to the Punk situation.
Mm-hmm. Old wounds don't die easily, or don't heal
No.
easily. Excuse me.
And I'll if we can, I'll talk a little bit about that at the very end because I don't want to hold up the proceedings here, but I've actually got an idea in my head based off of all the grumblings about him potentially returning to WWE.
All right. I welcome it because at the end of the day, we are literally getting close to November, and November will take center stage to both WWE and AEW. And for that matter, Impact Wrestling takes Chicago this month, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that's a great way to swerve the conversation towards what could be the potential for the Second City Saints' future. Speaking of, I swerve when I drive, I swerve when I talk, I swerve when I drive. I'm not doing the Prince Nana. But I will say
We've
this.
already got you on video doing it, bro. That's
God,
going in the highlight reel.
I know twice. You both suck. But what did not suck was this very unique singles exhibition that got praised by Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega when Swerve Strickland came home to whose house?
Run's
Swerve.
house.
That too. Swerve's house. And Swerve Strickland went one-on-one against the Hangman Adam Page, and Cowboy Shit was booed out of the FM building and lost an arm in the process. The lengths I will say that Swerve Strickland and Hangman went to try and beat one another is one thing. But to break one another, good Lord. I guess Swerve really wanted to take Heyman's blood and his arm in the process. Spooky season has arrived, as he once said. Spooky season on full effect. It took the crown jewels. It took a snap of the arm to render the buckshot lariat less impactful, which did work because Heyman did hit it, and he was unable to beat Swerve with it. Prince Nana was very instrumental at ringside, saving Swerve at one point, getting the foot on the rope. That ridiculous Swerve stomp on the apron that still didn't put down the Hangman. Couldn't effing believe it. And then not one, but two house calls in the end. And then finally hitting the JML driver after whiplashing the Hangman's head worse than a freaking bobblehead. Swerve prevailed over the former AEW World Champion and really backs up his statement that maybe Hangman, you don't deserve this spot. I do. And the aspirations that Swerve wants to be the first black AEW World Champion, that's as real as it gets. What a freaking match. And I gotta be honest, I'm very glad that Swerve won because Swerve, in my opinion, is one of those unique athletes that could defy the industry, but is still under-regarded as a top singles star. He shined his greatest moment against the Heyman. Call the Heyman what you will. He got the best of Hangman, but the best of Heyman was not enough to beat Swerve in his house. This was a great singles match.
It really was. It was an opportunity for Swerve to step up, and he did. I wasn't sure what to think about Swerve when I first saw him debut in AEW. I missed him in Hit Row back in the WWE, so I knew very little about him. I liked Swerve in Our Glory. I thought that was a great tandem, him and Keith Lee. And then once the trigger was pulled and they split up, I was kind of curious as to what was going to happen with him.
Right.
Because the light always seemed to be shined on Keith Lee, especially for a man of his size to do what he can do.
You saw.
So it was like you didn't want to see Swerve become Marty Jannetty.
No.
And I think that this match, although he's had some bangers prior to it,
including against Orange Cassidy for their national championship, and he will face the American Dragon Brian Danielson this coming Tuesday on Dynamite.
I think this match was a huge stepping stone to, like King Mike said, the main event and potentially the world title picture. I don't know if he's ready to be AEW world champion, And no, that's not me trying to hold a black man down or anything like that. I don't want it to get jostled in the comments or whatever.
And people are so easy
But
to assume, so I don't blame you for saying that. I even
but
understand you. And
I
folks,
just
I'm mixed, by the
feel
way.
I just feel like there's so many other people with the star power and the promise that are kind of like pecking at the heels that I'm not Swerve's time just yet.
Mm.
You know, yeah, Swerve is a heel, but with that performance, he was really getting babyface type of pops. And yes, it was Seattle, his hometown, but still, Page is supposed to be a babyface, and he's been getting overwhelming heel heat from the majority of the crowds every city they go to.
Yep.
So, is the crowd trying to turn Swerve face organically? Or was it just a one off because it was, in fact, Swerve's house?
He did say that Heyman's going in Lion's Den, and again, he got rained on with the chorus of boos of the Seattle faithful, of the Defy attendance that Swerve literally grind his teeth in before he put that mouthpiece in his mouth. Just saying. But yeah, it's one of those things when I look at Swerve by name, this guy's had more swerves in AEW than we can count. Now he's got the theme to back it up, and Prince Nana right now is over like Rover. Damn it. But yeah, for
Yeah, I
me,
never thought I would see Nana get that type of reaction.
right? The
I
guy that led
wasn't I wasn't a Ring of Honor faithful, but from my knowledge, Prince Nana was a heat magnet. There was nothing redeeming about Nana. He has always been heel. Boo this man.
exactly the embassy.
And now you've got him alongside Swerve doing his dance and he's getting this baby face reaction. It is weird.
Right?
And it's not just like it's in Canada and it's Bizarro Land or anything. It's everywhere he goes. Swerve's theme drops, he starts grooving, and you see the entire crowd, all 250 people that showed up to the 20,000 arena, are doing it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Prince Nana is priceless now. He truly is priceless. He is worth the money. Do, 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 do.
He may be priceless, but Tony Storm is timeless, damn it.
Oh, God, don't get
Chin
me.
up, tits out, watch out for the shoe.
This presentation is gonna go on a lot longer than a freaking one-off. I could tell until she gets the freaking Oscar or until she becomes something else. What the fuck? Tony Storm is on something else, but I'm
Dude,
not gonna
if
lie.
they
I
do
still.
not shoot some kind of vignettes of her in Hollywood when they are out here for the forum show, they have lost their fucking mind.
Now
They
she.
need to take her to Hollywood and Highland. They need to take her to the Grammy Museum, the Oscar exhibit at Hollywood and Highland, where you can actually be photographed with a legitimate statue. They need to take her to Madame Tussauds so that she can see the wax figures of all the Hollywood stars. And you can kind of do this whole cut and paste and green screen and have her interacting with these people.
Oh Lord.
They need to milk this shit for everything it's fucking worth. And if they don't, they fucked up because they have got their Marilyn Monroe lightning in a bottle in Tony Storm. And if they don't capitalize, it just goes to show that Tony Khan needs to have whatever booking powers he has removed from his hands.
Well, that's still.
Period.
Yeah, that's still a call on the question. And Kara Hogan said that's on period. And Kara Hogan lost last night to the timeless Tony Storm on Collision, much to the standing ovation of the attendances that were there. And I am just going to say this. I'm not going to lie. Calling that Sky Blue and Tony Storm match was my favorite thing about AEW Diamond Anniversary with you and Jeff. That was a priceless call, to say the least. That was ridiculous, but awesome. Bravo, Tony Storm. Until the next time that you call for the spotlight, take center stage. Oh, by the way, she said, I'm ready for my close-up, and that's literally what they did.
Mm-hmm. Dude, they've
So,
got her throwing to commercial. That
fuck!
was freaking great. I'm telling you, they need to shoot her walking down the Hollywood Walk of Fame, showing close ups on the stars.
RJ City with the
There
camera.
are a few stars out there that
Ah,
are placed but have no name or anything on it. So you digitally impose Tony Storm's name and the TV icon on the star. They need to have her at Grauman's Chinese Theater where the handprints and the footprints are.
I know that place. I've heard of it.
This is money to be booked. I'm telling you.
Oh man, Tony Khan, start listening to JJ. He's all in, he's on point, and I actually agree with him 100%. But again, we'll find out soon enough because right now we don't know where the timeless Tony Storm will take center stage next after a collision. But so far, the timeless Tony Storm is 2-0. She might literally become the most effective, dominant, popular. This is a stretch over female competitor in AEW at this point.
Legit, if they book her right with this gimmick and they put this Hollywood push behind her, especially once they get out here to LA, she could rival Britt Baker in popularity.
Damn. Well, I
Legitimately.
guess I agree. I literally agree. Again, I think WrestleDream set a precipice for who could be at the top, and timeless Tony Storm, who I'm sure has more shoes than she even knows that she has to throw at RJ City. RJ City, that poor dude. I feel so bad for him. Dadgum, the victim of this madness.
And you
people call
figure
RJ City
they've got a
weird.
day break in between the shows because Wednesday's the show in Ontario, Thursday they're off, Friday is Collision/Rampage at the Forum, and Saturday's the pay-per-view. So
Yep.
take Thursday and do all that. It shouldn't take more than a couple of hours.
Right. Yeah, you're fake.
Even if you have to take a little bit longer to make sure you get multiple angles, it shouldn't take more than 4 hours. Take it from a SoCal native. Because while you're shooting her in one place, you can be getting the stock footage of the Walk of Fame. And then while you shoot just her legs and her feet walking the Walk of Fame before you pan up, you can be getting real footage of something else. Just blend everything. The Hollywood sign. It has to be done.
And it has to be in black and white.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. That's an epic fail if they do any of it in color. The only thing that should be colorized is her hair and her lips. That way the blonde and the red pop through the black and white footage.
Oh, I thought you were
Everything else stays in the black and white.
In that classic Casablanca as type of old school filtering with the
you're coming around, Noah. You are starting to see my vision and you are subscribing. You are believing in timeless Tony Storm in the way that you want me to believe in Joe Hendry.
Fair point. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna just call it right now. Timeless Tony Storm versus Chris Statlander at freaking Full Gear. She needs to be booked in a pay-per-view match. Bottom line. And right now, you can't find another star that could challenge her spot unless the title's on the line. Give me Chris Statlander versus timeless Tony Storm. There, I said, even Chris Statlander wants to challenge Tony Storm. This is something that needs to happen. If Tony Khan doesn't book it or doesn't book Tony Storm for the pay-per-view, he's foolish.
Here's the problem with that.
All right. It's a good tangent.
Here's the problem with that.
Go ahead.
As much as I think Stat is not where it's at and she needs to drop the strap, the story is Tony and Saraya because the Outcast fallout.
That's true.
So you book Tony versus Saraya in LA and has the same way that Saraya had her moment in London at Wembley. Timeless Tony Storm, your Hollywood harlot, gets her moment in Los Angeles under the bright lights of Hollywood.
And rains bouquets of roses for her standing ovation performance. And once again, becoming now, I believe that would freaking be a 3-time AEW Women's World Champion. And scene.
Walter is right on the money. With Dynamite being on Tuesday and Tuesday being Tony's birthday, she needs to Marilyn Monroe that shit and sing Happy Birthday, Tony Khan.
Oh, God.
Just like Marilyn did it to JFK when he was president of the U.S. That would be classic.
What have we done?
It would be an instant classic.
Put away into the vault. Ay. Well, one thing's for sure, we believe that Tony Storm has the chance to be on top of the AEW Women's Division. It's just a matter of execution. Speaking of on top, we saw the top guys go once again against their top competitors in their tag team run of their legacy last year. This time for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. That was beyond brilliant. As FTR defended the gold against Aussie Open, but due to an injury that Big Dunkzilla Mark Davis sustained again some point during the match. Damn it. Cash Wheeler also sustained a ribs injury. We were able to see Aussie Open. They did bring out those mean, bad bastards, but they weren't the meanest and the baddest, as FTR was able to catch Kyle Fletcher in the most ridiculous avalanche shadow machine I had ever effing seen. After freaking Aussie Open used the shadow machine choreos themselves, I was on the gospel of Aussie Open being the ones at WrestleDream 1 year to the day of their 38-minute classic, beating the top guys and ushering in a new era for the AEW Tag Team Division. I was freaking wrong. Damn it! But this was a really good tag team title match. But I gotta be honest, because of the injury sustained by Cash Wheeler and Mark Davis, I kind of feel like this one, for me, knowing I saw the first one, the sequel did not surpass the first encounter, but it was still a fair tag title contest. I wish more came out of it. And I still think Aussie Open deserves a chance at as AEW Tag Team Champions. I think their day will come. But clearly right now, the focus is Kyle Fletcher singles, which again, he has that potential. But Aussie Open wants around the world. I want to see them ride again. And as we saw in Collision, top guys no longer on top. FTR no longer has the tag titles. And I think a lot of it has to do with the injuries sustained by Cash Wheeler, who was grasping his ribs for a good portion of this match. The guys that defined the tag team legacy in 2022, ran history in 2023, now have injury. Damn it.
Yeah, I agree with Walter to an extent. Knowing what that we know now, what happened on Collision, why couldn't have Aussie Open beaten FTR? And granted, Mark Davis suffered injury. We know that now.
Damn it.
But in the moment, you're like, Aussie Open, Starks and Big Bill. I'm just saying.
You're not wrong.
And even if it was just transitional and you put the straps onto Aussie Open and you had them defeat FTR 1 year to the day, and then you realize Mark Davis is injured and you have them lose the belts to Starks and Big Bill, you run the angle that they weren't able to defeat Aussie Open at 100%. So once Mark comes back and they're both at the top of their game, bam. Who really wins? And then to have Starks and Big Bill go over on Aussie Open when they're 100%, that just solidifies Ricky Starks even more.
Exactly.
Long-term storytelling.
Simple as that. At this point, it's now 2 FTR 0 Aussie Open. You know the usual phrase, third time's the charm. I say if you can, run it back at Wrestle Kingdom.
And you mentioned how, the second match, the sequel didn't live up to the original outing.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's kind of the norm. It's not every day you get a Empire Strikes Back. It's not every day you get a Aliens, a Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Sometimes you get, a Halloween 2. Rob Zombie or original, take your pick. Both of them weren't that great.
Damn.
But, a lot of times the sequel just doesn't live up to the hype. And unfortunately that happened here, but you've got an opportunity to save it when you wrap up the trilogy.
And that's what's most important, the conclusion to the saga.
Everybody remembers the
like
final act.
You don't want to end like Game of Thrones, sticking to HBO, where people are still tolerating that ending to this day.
Yeah. Everyone remembers the final act. No one remembers. Well, I won't say nobody, because we as fans generally remember, but the broader spectrum, nobody remembers how we got there. They just remember the final act.
That's what I was looking for. You were saying that's basically the real.
I mean, when you've got a historian like this man who can rattle everything off, clearly he remembers how we got there.
Well,
but for the broader spectrum, not everybody remembers how we got to the final act. They remember how it ended.
Right.
They don't remember all the twists, all the turns, all the swerves, all the ups, the highs, the lows, the reds when it should have been green, the green when it should have been red. They don't remember all that.
Nope. And they choose not to sometimes as well.
At most, they remember how it started and how it ended. The other hour and 20 minutes of the film in the middle, whatever. Paul Roma style.
It started with a kiss. It ended with a kiss. Bye, see ya. I mean, that's what every Transformer movie is. Tell me when I'm telling lies. Anyway, freaking overkilled franchise, worse than Fast and Furious. Freaking giant overinflated budget. But I digress.
I enjoyed the first couple of Transformer movies.
And then
I don't think I've seen them all, but I enjoyed like the first two, and I enjoyed the Cena one, Bumblebee. Those were pretty good.
And here you got Fast and Furious 10. You got the Marine 7. You got Halloween 13. You got Terminator 11. I'm exaggerating, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're not far off when it comes to Halloween.
I bet I'm not. I really think I'm not.
Because they did 5 numbered. Then they did a 6th one that didn't have the number 6. Then there was H2O Resurrection. So that was 8 in the original timeline. Then there were the 2 Rob Zombie ones, which are 10. Then there was the reboot trilogy, which did in fact make 13. So Noah over here being smart ass and sarcastic actually pinpointed it dead on.
I know more than I should know at this point, and it's scary. Oh, man. Well, anyway, knowing more and knowing less is part of the reason why I love basically assessing this industry. You do not get a fucking master class assessment, what it means to start out and fine-tune and execute the tools of fucking professional wrestling, more personified than this. Eat your heart out, Antonio Inoki and Billy Robinson, 1975. Sorry, not sorry. As the dream match, the technical classic between the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and Zack Sabre Jr. just gave me a run for the best technical wrestling match I have ever seen in my life, and another match of the year candidate. The reactive nature of Bryan Danielson to the counter-attack nature of Zack Sabre Jr., catching a limb every time he could, where Bryan can only get advantage more often than not with a strike, only tying the man at times in submissions, grounded mat game. The bottom line with this match, before I give it to JJ, is this. Run this the fuck back, submissions only at Wrestle Kingdom. This is professional wrestling in the highest degree! Damn it! But I digress. JJ, your thoughts on this once in a lifetime center showcase of the finest execution of technical wrestling we've probably ever seen?
Well, for starters, let me say, don't call it once in a lifetime and then ask him to run it back at Wrestle Kingdom. That's some WWE booking shit.
Yeah,
John Cena and The Rock, once in a lifetime.
Well, yeah, that was
until we do it the
bullshit.
following year at WrestleMania. Now it's
here's the difference, though. Rock and Cena didn't need a sequel. This needs a sequel because at the end of the day, Zack Sabre Jr. to me is still the better technical wrestler because Bryan Danielson won with a strike. Even if Nigel McGuinness calling Bryan Danielson a freaking clam digger, Nigel for once is right. Bryan did not beat Zack Sabre Jr. technically. He beat Kyle Fletcher technically last night in Collision, but he had to literally pin Zack Sabre Jr. That's not technical wrestling. Continue.
The bottom line for this match for me is this. Anybody wants to ask me what matches that they need to watch to become a fan of pro wrestling, this match will now forever be on my list. Anybody wants to approach me and asks me, what matches should I study if I want to become a professional wrestler? This match will forever be on my list.
Damn it.
Somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I've got some time to kill before I have to do this. Let's watch something. This match is probably something I will throw on. That's how good it was. This was a masterpiece. You know, we watched as we watched as Michelangelo carved the statue of David. We watched as Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa.
I was waiting for you to say that.
That's what we just saw in this match. We watched brilliance at work, executing their craft to the best of their ability in front of our very eyes. It very well, more than likely is, and very well, more than likely ever will be, the greatest match I watched in real time in my fandom. End of story. And scene.
Bravo. I also just want to add this. I'm pretty sure, I think the entirety of this match practically took place inside the ring and 85% of it on the fucking mat. From the Juju Katame to the cross arm breaker to the Fujiwara armbar. Yes, I confused the two moves, folks. I was stuck in the fandom. At one point, Bryan Danielson folded more than your average pretzel to the point I thought I was going to tap out or give out. Nigel McGuinness, Jon Moxley, me on my damn feet. You gave me a solo shot. I didn't need that. That freaking hell. Everybody couldn't freaking hold on to themselves, wondering who was going to out wrestle the other. The point the audience, 3 different rounds it felt like at times. In the early going, we're standing up, appreciating the art demonstrated here. This wasn't about glorified spot monkey showcase, aerial assassin antics. This was truly a mat-based chess game of the highest degree with 2 of the most, I'm just going to say the word, elite competitors on the planet in the wrestling industry. And at the end of the day, yes, Bryan Danielson won with Aubrey Edwards. They shared a touching moment, crying girl from the retirement, now literally refereeing one of the best, not the best technical match in wrestling history, and the embrace afterwards. But Zack Sabre Jr., there is nobody on this planet right now like him. You figure about technical grades. like Lord Regal, like Dean Malenko, like Owen, like Brett, like Kurt Angle. Shall I continue? I think about the female side with Serena Deeb and the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. Nobody on this planet, Billy Robinson, Carlo Gotch, Minoru Suzuki, nobody on this fucking planet wrestles like Zack Sabre Jr. That was Zack Sabre Jr.'s greatest match ever in his career, and I followed his work in Rev Pro and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Bryan Danielson, that was his greatest test to the longevity and growth of his career. There's a reason he says that nobody wrestles like Zack Sabre Jr. Yes, you got the win, but are you the best technical wrestler? Inquiring minds want to know, and I at this point will still say no until you outclass Zack Sabre Jr. at his game. You didn't do that. You won with a strike. And yes, Zack Sabre Jr. has the Zack driver, but more matches than not, while he's been NWA World Championship champion since January 4th, he's won with a technical style. Whether it's Euro Clutch, Double Nation European Clutch, Clarky Cat, far away from home, the double arm bar, which at one point he had Bryan Danielson trapped in. And my God, when he executed that offense on that right arm. By the way, that right arm, right now is braced with a steel rod. That's the reason right now he's actually able to compete. But it doesn't bend as easily as a bone. That still hurts like fucking hell. The joint manipulation and the misinterpreted rotation of Zack Sabre Jr.'s arm was disgustingly beautiful and effective. Bryan Danielson was wrestling effectively with one arm almost this whole match. And Zack Sabre Jr. was able to counterpunch him every time until he ate the knee straight to the face. Give me this one more time. Bryan needs to prove he could beat Zack Sabre Jr. technically. Or at this point, Zack Sabre Jr. is the best technical wrestler on the planet. This was absolutely fucking incredible.
Yeah, I definitely think we need to run this back. I definitely agree with you. Run it back at Wrestle Kingdom. Let Zack Sabre Jr. win there. And then at Forbidden Door, we have the final match in the trilogy.
Oh. Oof.
And
will that be
we run it into an Iron Man match.
I was about to say, that's the only stipulation that would make sense. And talk about how fitting for a final countdown. Well, all I know is this. If Bryan Danielson is not up there this year as the best professional wrestler of the year, y'all are fucking stupid. But Zack Sabre Jr. needs to be put up there as the best technical wrestler of the year. I was actually looking at Cage Match. Zack Sabre Jr. received something that's been called the Bryan Danielson Award. That was named for Bryan Danielson in the name of the best technical wrestlers on the planet. Zack Sabre Jr. was the guy to outbeat Bryan Danielson for it the first time Bryan Danielson lost. If that doesn't prove who the best technical wrestler is, I don't know what does. All right. Well, again, we still have to see what happens because, again, we still have 2 more months of this year, and I cannot wait for, of course, my launching pad, professional wrestling, damn it, in 2024, which will be Wrestle Kingdom 18. But that being said, we've had a lot of fun, a lot of commentations, a lot of let's go. Oh, wait, that's right. There was one more match before the main event. Absolute Ricky Starks on Wheeler Yuta in his first solo campaign on pay-per-view and made it look absolutely easy. Wheeler Yuta gave effort to young studs that are definitely going to be top tier AEW top stars. But Ricky Starks right now, he is on that level. There's why he is called Absolute. At this point, because John Moxley was on commentary, John Moxley, stay as a wrestler. You're not meant to be a commentator, dude, all right? You probably cost them more money. I think at this point, we're just waiting for Ricky Starks versus John Moxley. He beat Wheeler Yuta. He beat Bryan. He lasted against Bryan Danielson. Hasn't beat him. I guess he did beat him in a tag match. I don't know if they're going to do the whole thing with him and Claudio Castagnoli, but at the end of the day, when you're facing Blackpool Combat Club, who's the final boss of the group? John Moxley. I think at this point, JJ, they're just soft burning a match for Ricky Starks and John Moxley. Do I think it's going to happen in Full Gear? Probably not. But it wouldn't surprise me if it happens soon after.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, he's already gone through Yuta. He's already gone through Danielson. Has he gone through Claudio yet?
Not in singles, no.
So maybe you do Starks versus Claudio at Full Gear. And then you do Moxley at either Revolution or Winter is Coming.
Which, of course, they haven't announced the day for it yet, but I imagine it's going to be like the second Wednesday if they don't turn into a weekend pay-per-view. But again, Madman Tony Khan trying to get everything on Max, even if it means it's like, 60% off. Can't blame him, but still, I'm going to play that all by ear. Also, subtangent, Blackpool Combat Club has been feuding with Big Bill and Ricky Starks for the better part of this Bryan Danielson saga. Now that Big Bill and Ricky Starks are the AEW Tag Team Champions, maybe that means that Claudio Castagnoli with a Yuta could confront them, and that's how you build the Claudio Castagnoli versus Ricky Starks.
Quite possibly. It would make sense, I think.
Just saying. I guess time will tell. Still, good first time singles AEW pay-per-view exhibition for the Yuta, and he's got more potential. But at the end of the day, Ricky Starks put that boy down with the Rochambeau. He did not get back up. But hey, keep fighting. All right. Well, that was fun to talk about. It's been a fun show and a fun discussion. I hope everyone's enjoyed the conversation. If you have, please subscribe, comment, tell a friend. And if you want to dictate the conversation, donate to Dictate, as Mr. Reliable says. Super Chat is as simple as that. We always appreciate bringing you our after thoughts regarding all the biggest shows and pay-per-views in professional wrestling too. But that being said, we had a lot of great talk. But let's go ahead and talk about our main event with Seattle's own Darby Allin and the self-professed Father of the Year and the TNT champion, officially now at the time, looking to expose Darby Allin for the fraud that he is, lacking the mentorship, can't out-wrestle him. It was Darby Allin versus Christian Cage, 2 out of 3 falls for the TNT championship. Darby Allin's first main event pay-per-view level match, and Christian Cage continues to prove like he is still one of the best in his game, continuing to cement his legacy. To say that this match did more than I expected would probably be an under-fucking statement. And I'm not talking about the opportunity that was received for AEW following this match conclusions either. Christian Cage worked everyone, including Nick Wayne's mom, at ringside. And Darby Allin once again proved how relentless he is, but also how possibly indestructible he can be, and how much he's willing to destroy his body for this business, despite better judgment, maybe trying to be the better choice at the end of the day. JJ, your thoughts about this main event match, 2 out of 3 falls, the circumstances both these men took, the brilliance of Darby Allin getting the first fall, the ruthless, absolutely uncaring nature of Christian Cage for Darby Allin's well-being, and of course, the betrayal heard around the world of one of Seattle's own and the youngest in the industry. And of course, after this match, the arrival of somebody taking up a whole new world of opportunity. Your thoughts on this WrestleDream main event?
Well, as we all know, Christian has been champion for over 100 days, having won the belt on June 17th of this year.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I swear.
He's just allowed Luchasaurus to wrestle his matches in the meantime, trying to help put the younger talent over like a good father figure would, trying to nurture the youth in the next generation. You know, you'll see all this if you just open your eyes instead of closing them, Noah. You're just blind to the fact
I'm not blind.
That Christian is trying to help guide the youth of the wrestling business. And that's why he now has Nick Wayne under his care, because Luchasaurus can now play big brother to Nick Wayne. And he's going to focus all his attention on him. He's going to help nurture him. He's going to help build him up in his own image so that one day Nick Wayne can outwork everyone.
Oh my God. You're worse than Nigel McGuinness.
He is going to show the young man how to reek of awesomeness. He is going to bestow his endless amounts of charisma that only a captain can give to the youth.
God.
He is going to be the Father of the Year for 2023 and possibly 2024, especially if he can lead Nick Wayne to championship gold.
Another instant classic in the making. The fuck?
Dare I say that Christian Cage is the best signing to date that AEW has picked up.
It's hard to argue, actually.
I mean, you think about his debut, you think about how under the AEW umbrella, he became Impact champion again during their working agreement with Impact. You think about how he main evented the Royal Rumble, an Impact pay-per-view, and an AEW pay-per-view all in the same calendar year. You think about how he was able to lead Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus to the tag team straps. The fact that even though he has been champion for 100 days, he's allowed Luchasaurus to get that experience under his belt by wrestling matches for him as an alternate while he coaches him from the sidelines.
He was never the champion to begin with. Luchasaurus got the pin. Damn it! He defended against Brock Anderson. He defended against Shawn Spears Battle of the Belts. He defended it against Darby Allin at AEW All Out. And if it wasn't for Christian Cage instigating, none of that would have been possible. That's the only reason Christian Cage takes credit for himself. Luchasaurus was the rightful champion, and the moment he found a brain, he fucked it up, and Christian Cage pinned him for it.
So are you saying that Christian Cage was an ultimate opportunist?
It's hard to argue because he was with Edge, so at that moment I have to say yes because he took advantage of a triple threat. Damn it!
Worked everyone.
Including me!
I'm not sure what gets you riled up more right now, Noah. Me putting over Christian Cage or JEFF, JARRETT.
It's more so the witch that roused me. If I respect, like I said, Jeff Jarrett and the work that his family gave him, but I still can't stand that witch. She's the personification of what everybody hates the most at fucking work. And why you would marry one is a whole different conversation that not even Steve Harvey can illustrate correctly in his book.
This match, excuse the bad pun, but it was an instant classic.
All right.
For all the right reasons. Christian and Darby had a knockout, drag-out fight. It went the distance. It went all 3 falls. Nobody got 2-0.
No.
Darby had a strong showing. Christian made him look like $1 million even in his loss. We got a new member for Christian's coalition.
That ungrateful, despicable son of a bitch.
But is he really? Or was Darby just using him and holding him down? We're going to have to wait and see how things progress, but I think Christian is going to make Nick Wayne look like $1 million by his association. He's going to get that Grayson Waller rub, if you will. And Nick Wayne is going to reach new kinds of levels. Think about where Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus were before Christian. Think about where Luchasaurus is with Christian. The success is right there. The proof is in the pudding, so to speak.
All right.
You can't deny me. As much as you want to spew the verbal diarrhea and the hatred towards Captain Charisma, you can't argue it because you know it's factual.
He's worked everyone. He's worked with everyone. He's brought up anyone he's worked with. Because I hate to say it.
The question, though, becomes, with the new arrival in AEW, with Adam Copeland being all elite.
Who would have
At
thought
what
that was
point does
fucking
Christian Cage take his last breath? Because we know that Adam is here at the insistence of his daughter to hang out and play with Uncle Jay.
gone?
But Uncle Jay told Adam to go fuck himself.
That 3-word sentence has set up so damn much
Yep. And I
for
said it
Adam
on
Copeland and Christian
WrestleDream.
Cage.
I said it on our Dynamite anniversary watch along. And I will say it one more time since we're recapping WrestleDream. You heard it here first. Darby Allin, Steen, Adam Copeland, Luchasaurus, Nick Wayne, Christian Cage, Full Gear.
Full Gear. Yeah, it has to be. It absolutely has to be. Let's just go ahead.
Especially going against Luchasaurus in his first match this coming Tuesday, which we will be calling the action for.
Oh, Lord help
That
my
is
boy.
how you start to lay the groundwork for it.
Yep. Again,
And
Adam
then you
Copeland.
build slowly and surely. You do the single match with Luchasaurus. You do the single match with Nick Wayne. You do a tag team match. Adam and Darby versus Lucha and Nick Wayne.
Yep. At the end of the
And
day,
you build up until you get Christian and Steen in the ring too.
TNA represent, and then the final saga of this long-term saga, the first of many sagas for Adam Copeland, who feels free. I love that word, free. Adam Copeland, Christian Cage. Now that right there, those two, take my fucking money. Don't need a title. Again, it's Adam Copeland and Christian Cage 1-on-1. It writes itself. It sells itself. Well,
yeah. And to Walter's point, as far as the stepdaddy shirt,
damn it.
I don't know if they'd get into copyright issues with it. But instead of that, I would say to steal Biff Tannen's line from Back to the Future and have Christian have a shirt that says, "Say hi to your mom for me."
Oh, you boy, that friggin' grimace on that dickhead's face. Okay, so
Because
yeah,
that's exactly who Christian's reminded me of right now is Biff Tannen. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, even though I know you watched movies when you were once a wee lad, go back and revisit Back to the Future.
I saw the first one.
That's all you need to know then.
Remember Nick and Knight showed that and friggin' Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid, not the Jackie Chan one, but the black kid.
Because before Marty went back in time, Biff was still a dick and at the house. And he bumped into Marty and he told him, "Say hi to your mom for me."
Dickhead.
Exactly. And that's what Christian's reminding me of right now. Like, I want to see him say that in a promo.
I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. still call Bryan Danielson a dickhead. So, I mean, Zack Sabre Jr. is the only guy I need to hear call Chris Cage a dickhead. And it's like, yeah, that's a firm. Yeah, Christian Cage, who got caught outsmarted in the first fall with his own turtleneck, courtesy of Darby Allin catching the first fall. And then Christian Cage went extreme and broke Darby Allin's body across the floor, across the ring apron, and throwing him on the front side of the steel ring steps. What the fuck was that? Getting a count-out win for the second fall. Tearing apart the ring when you thought they was going to be carried out on a gurney. Then, for you know, he does a freaking cross body off the top rope, crashes on the Darby Allin, compresses the gurney, brings him back inside the ring. Both of these men execute a kill switch. We get a spear, we get a drop kick, we get a coffin drop on the exposed wood, might I add. But at the end of the day, when Christian Cage, you thought he was going to play the trick in the book, Nick Wayne was coming to Darby Allin's aid, and this is after Christian Cage instigated again Nick Wayne's mother sitting at ringside. Nick Wayne hit Darby Allin with the TNT Championship while the referee was incapacitated too, and all hell broke loose. And Christian Cage won 2-1, but the punishment was not done there as Nick Wayne instigated Darby Allin again in front of his mother, who I'm pretty sure was dragged away from ringside by security. And as Sting came out here to try and save Darby Allin with the stern look as everyone, the Icon, pissed off, Luchasaurus came down, took out the Icon. It looked like we were going to get a final note to close out the show in the end with a concerto, but not before we had a wild ride with a muscle car and the freaking Maverick, whoever that team is. That was a nice touch, by the way. And we saw the Rated R, and the whole world got freaking shocked with Reeks of Awesomeness as we learned that Phoenix now said the new intro, but he still has Madlingus, and the Rated R superstar became All Elite, and now AEW has entered a Rated R era as Adam Copeland arrived to AEW. Never in my life would I think Edge would go to AEW. I thought he was truly done. And that freaking note on the refrigerator, you freaking, that was brilliant. Not gonna lie. And again, he said during the media scrum, he feels free. It's new opportunities. His entire roster of people he's never faced, dream matches he wants in an out of AEW. Samoa Joe, Kazuchika Okada, Nick Wayne, just, like you said, and now he's facing Luchasaurus. But he also, and everybody wants this at the end of the day, he wants to do that tag team saga. He knows how much Sting and Lex Luger were influences to him and Christian Cage. Even Christian broke character for a split second. We saw it. But then he immediately morphed back and simply said, go fuck yourself, and walked away. To be continued. And again, what Adam Copeland says, as soon as Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne suck on the knowledge out of Christian Cage's brain, they're going to drop him like a bad habit. Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus go into business for themselves. Sounds very poetic for Captain Charisma and his track record. And then Adam Copeland comes in for the save. Christian Cage, broken man, not sure what to do. You slow burn Christian Cage coming back around to the aid of Adam Copeland. And that's how you get A and C in AEW. Does that happen in 2024? Does it happen in 2025? Does it happen in 2027? I don't know. All I know is with Adam Copeland, take notice of All Elite Wrestling. I know I am. And at this point, your move, Christian Cage. And we'll see the next move, whether or not it puts him in check or checkmate, this coming Tuesday. This was a very wild circumstance. And again, crumble him over Darby Allin, but again, he got fucked. So, but they did get the handshake of approval and respect by freaking Adam Copeland. And for the first time ever in his career, Sting and Adam Copeland shared a handshake. And I cannot believe I'm going to freaking see Sting and Adam Copeland on the same side. What the fuck is my fandom and rest life? It's wild to figure about, again, what possibilities AEW just brought forward now that Adam Copeland is part of the roster full time. He is not there as a spectacle. He is a full-time member of the AEW roster. And I cannot wait and see what his first impression brings with another formerly maybe possible WWE superstar that WWE didn't decide to sign with. So again, even more reason why I think it's very fitting that the established vet, now free and renewed, Adam Copeland, takes on his debut match, Luchasaurus. I guarantee you Christian Cage will be on commentary for that too. How much you want to bet? But this was wild, to say the least.
Absolutely.
And that shirt's already selling like hotcakes, so AEW is already doing better business. Well, that being said, JJ, it was the first ever WrestleDream. It was not your standard AEW pay-per-view. It had a lot of honoring, legacy, history, and then we had the ultimate opportunity to mark out, as people would say, with the arrival of Adam Copeland. So in your simple final stance, what is your final take on the first ever AEW presented WrestleDream?
I think it was good in concept. I think it ended up being executed properly. I still don't know if Tony continuing to pay tribute and homage to people that never worked in his company is the right way to go as a businessman. I wonder at what point the AEW New Japan branding got removed from the promotion because, as I pointed out to you, it was originally kind of billed as an impromptu successor to Forbidden Door, where it was supposed to be company and company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the way it ended up being executed. There were some New Japan names on the show, but it wasn't like Forbidden Door.
No.
And I don't know if that was the right way or the wrong way to go, considering we were supposed to be paying tribute to the founder of New Japan. But I think every match delivered where it needed to deliver, and I'd give the show probably a solid B plus.
It's one of those things where, again, AEW pay per views might be misinterpreted by their build, but the execution never fails. No two pay per views feel the same, almost like a week of AEW content, basically. And I always have something to take away, whether it was a key moment, whether it was a marquee match, whether it was potential for what I think could be next. And this show gave me all three of those things with Swerve,
Same.
with Adam Copeland, with the TBS Championship and Julia Hart. And my God, with Brian Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr., that could have been a one match freaking show, and I would have got my money's worth. More than freaking Marlonello and Snoop Dogg calling freaking Floyd Money Mayweather and freaking boxer, I forget his name. It's one of those things where it's like, again, it wasn't the normal, but it still gave what it needed to for me as a fan, and I thoroughly enjoyed the show. Quantity over quality, execution versus presentation, perception versus reality. I really didn't have like a bathroom break or a sleeper note. And overall, yeah, I think I would agree with you. I would give it a B plus too. Would I call it my AEW of the year? No. I'm still debating right now between AEW Revolution and Forbidden Door, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But this right there probably is right now number 3. As somebody who has followed every AEW pay-per-view in this company's existence, as far as 2023, this is definitely in the top 3. But again, Full Gear more often than not has been my pick of the year for AEW. I'm curious to see if it holds up to that marquee because, again, Full Gear usually is your final stop of this aspect of AEW merging their content, premium live content, to Max. I'm just saying December might give us another gift. And would I argue against it? Especially if it's a cheaper price? Probably not. But I am curious to see overall what is next. And I'm definitely very curious to see the in-ring debut of Adam Copeland. Will it be exactly like Edge? How different is a Radar Superstars All Elite versus WWE? What comes out of his first match in AEW? Do you build that six-man tag into Full Gear? Do you exercise caution against it, or do you pull the trigger a little earlier, maybe with the tag team match you alluded to? Give me Adam Copeland and Darby Allin on Collision. I'm going to Collision next week, Saturday night. Just saying. Thank you. And again, brand new AEW Tag Team Champions following this show. And once again, a lot of different stuff has been set up and is still being set up. And with the aspect that we know there's another Ring of Honor pay-per-view coming as well, and you know some of this talent's going to be on the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, particularly Eddie Kingston, who, by the way, spoiler alert, he beat Commander. Game match, though, on Collision last night. There's a lot of possibilities I see coming out of WrestleDream. Now, whether or not to be executed again really comes down to why you do it, not just on name sake. But yeah, I agree. It's a solid B plus for me too. Well, as we are about to conclude, I know that you did have some thoughts regarding the Second City Saint and, of course, Chicago. Of course, being formally involved in AEW, possibly going back to WWE, even Impact Wrestling saying they might be interested in him. We got all three of those companies, of course, going to Chicago. Chicago this month being led by Impact Wrestling. Next month, of course, we have both WWE and AEW. Good God, how is Chicago not burnt down yet with the exhaustion of this industry and the damn 5 buildings? But I digress. But what were you going to say about maybe CM Punk's next steps or execution in where he might land next. What was on your mind?
So, and I know this is going to be a really controversial take here
Go for it.
because at the end of the day, even verbalizing it seems very never going to happen. But we always say never in wrestling.
Especially this year. Are you kidding me?
So, if rumors are to be believed, let's leave that out there to begin with. If
Okay.
rumors are to be believed, we are all but T's crossed, I's dotted for Punk to go back to WWE, especially with Survivor Series in November in Chicago.
Yes.
However, you know that Phil Brooks is probably full of piss and vinegar regarding what happened with AEW.
Oh, no doubt.
So you know he wants to get that off of his chest. But you also know that Hunter, Vince, Nick Khan, Dana White, Ari Emanuel, none of them are going to stand for that shit in WWE.
No.
So what do? How do you avoid CM Punk going back to your company without getting all of that out of his system, cleansing his soul, if you will? You allow him a one-time appearance at Bound for Glory.
Ooh.
You allow him to walk into Chicago on Impact's show, and you give him a live microphone. And you let him cut the pipe bomb of pipe bombs and just lay everything on the table. This accomplishes a few different things. Number one, it allows him to get all that venom out so that he walks into WWE a happy Phil.
Fair.
Because he has exorcised the demons, so to speak.
If you will.
It allows him to prove to everybody at WWE that his appearance in Chicago at Survivor Series will explode everything, will break the internet, much as Phil is known for doing.
Yep.
It allows him a homecoming to the first major promotion to give him an opportunity, as he was part of the NWA TNA era in the early goings. A homecoming at their biggest show of the year, their WrestleMania, Bound for Glory. It makes Impact Wrestling water cooler talk for a month. Holy shit, did you see what CM Punk did? He showed up out of nowhere and went off on Adam Page, Kenny Omega, Nick, Matt Jackson, Tony Khan, Jack Perry, Colt Cabana. Now Impact Wrestling is once again must-see TV, because who knows when something like that may happen again.
And if he will stick around for maybe another match longer than Bobby Fish.
And then he shows up at WWE for Survivor Series. And we're back off to the races.
The arrival of the Second City Saint once again. Is Survivor
And
Series
because Cult of Personality is is a normal psalm.
Red, normal as it gets.
You don't have to worry about it not being able to transcend all brands.
No.
So he can use Cult of Personality on Bound for Glory. He can use Cult of Personality going back to WWE. All they've got to do is pay rights to Living Color, much like with Alter Bridge and Metalingus.
I just wonder if Impact Wrestling has that type of money, because I know everyone talks about the biggest flaw of Impact. They don't have the revenue or the marketing needed.
That's why it's only a one-time deal. We know Impact Wrestling cannot afford to lock Punk down to a long-term deal.
No.
But you give him a live microphone and tell him you can say whatever he wants to say and air his grievances about Tony Khan and AEW, especially since the working agreement between Impact and AEW went south. Punk may do it for less than his normal fee because he's getting that therapy. And a clear head is priceless. A clean soul is priceless.
Amen to that. I'm not going to argue that. You kidding me? I mean, look at John Moxley.
So you take a smaller pay cut for the ability to just spew all that out there.
Get it off your chest. Let it all just be released. And finally, just free yourself from your past and start anew, a clean slate. Whether in and out of wrestling, the past no longer pervades you. If that happens, then this might be the biggest year in the wrestling industry if CM Punk did that, because that means he would have been across AEW, Impact, and WWE. Truly, he would be the Cult of Personality, because he would have changed the culture across the wrestling industry, across three of the biggest players, and not the three biggest players in the game, because I consider Impact the third biggest player in the game nowadays with what they've been doing and what they still can do. Again, Trinity is their knockout world champion, and she's facing Mickie James for the title. It's going to be a very unique October, and we will find out soon enough in 13 days when me, you, Datilla, and everyone else that's a fan of Impact Wrestling are here to, of course, take part in the festivities and the coverage. But that being said, will the Second City Saint rise again, make an impact, and once again transcend the world of sports entertainment? That remains to be seen. But what has been seen is the arrival of the Radar Superstar, and there is endless possibilities and opportunities. We'll find out what is to come from them soon, as we bid you all a fine adieu for this simple take on WrestleDream. So again, thank you all for tuning in. And again, never say never. And if there's one person that knows how to work the dirt sheets, work the business, work the trolls, and even work us fans, it is Phil Brooks. It is CM Punk. I'm just saying. Before we conclude, JJ, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, reviewing and talking wrestling content, just chatting, of course, in general with you, Pesky Fly. But besides that, I know you and I got a busy week ahead. You already talked about Tuesday. Don't have the graphic, but we can just talk about it. But anything you want to plan and promote, and of course, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram, the Renegade JJ Williams, on the Twix at ROWJJ Williams, on YouTube, Casa D18 Studios. It's where you can find all my content. Don't worry about the members only graphic. I haven't been pushing that because my content over there has been kind of sliding lately. I do apologize to the 4 people that are currently subscribed to the members only content that I haven't been able to deliver as much for the past month and a half. Noah and I still have 2 matches for September that we need to call.
Yeah.
Mind Games, Shawn Michaels versus Mankind for the title. Unbreakable, Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe for the X Division title. And then for the month of October, we are going to call arguably the greatest Halloween Havoc match in history. Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio Jr. for the Cruiserweight title versus mask match. We will be having all that go up in the coming weeks as we are able to come together and film all that. Of course, we've got the road to WrestleMania 40 that we still need to get back in the studio and can and call these matches for.
Oh God.
It's been an interesting journey so far, even though we've only done the first two WrestleManias. It's been kind of fun to go back and relive those and to provide our take on some of these matches. We need to get into WrestleMania 3 next. I'm looking forward to calling Savage versus Steamboat.
Yes.
That's going to be, I think that's one of the matches I'm most looking forward to on this journey. So it's going to be a lot of fun to get in there and lay our voices down for that one.
Oh yeah.
You know, we've got so much coming up across the multiverse of media. We've got the double feature on Tuesday where we'll be calling AEW Dynamite at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, as it's live. Coverage beginning at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 Eastern on Tuesday. Once Dynamite is over, there will be about an hour lull where we'll just kind of bullshit and discuss the show that we saw and kind of hype up the NXT presentation. And then we'll begin NXT coverage at 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 Eastern, via tape delay, as I don't get it on the West Coast until then. I don't get the East Coast feed like I do for Dynamite. Noah will have it DVR'd already so that once I get it, we can synchronize and get rolling, and we will provide our commentary and reactions to that super show as Carmelo Hayes takes on Braun Breaker with John Cena and Paul Heyman in their respective corners. Roxanne Perez takes on Asuka. Cody Rhodes has an important announcement, and just announced over the weekend, it's not just the Brawling Brutes versus Gallus. It is Ridge, Pete Dunne, and Tyler Bate against all three members of Gallus. 6-man action on the white and gold brand.
Very nice.
They're making a serious push to get Noah to claim that is his NXT. Damn it.
But you digress. As I always say, folks, if you don't know, this is not my NXT.
But it is my NXT, damn it. And I don't digress. I'm proud of that shit.
And I'll even say this NXT is better than what it used to be, but I digress.
So, but yeah, I when I first made that challenge, I thought it was just going to be the Brutes versus Wolfgang and Mark. And I was like, okay, still enough to hook Noah. But then when I saw the graphic pop up, they threw Tyler and Joe in there too. I was like, ooh, Noah's gonna like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this. You give them the time. I'm gonna enjoy this. Yeah, ignoring grit with British.
Go ahead and say it one time, Noah.
What?
Represent your boys.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because of course I am with the fun, because as always I like to say, get us boys on top.
There we go.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward.
And then, of course, after that, there will be the regular Saturday Night Shenanigans open mic night. You're going to be live on location for Dynamite. Are you even going to be able to appear and participate in open mic night, good sir?
I should be afterwards. Might be a little late. Might be with a hoarse voice, and plus my phone battery sucks, so does my camera. But I'll see if I can just pop in so you guys know I'm there. I'll send you a picture. And yes, I will be going this coming Saturday to Saturday night AEW Collision, my first ever AEW Collision. I am so damn excited since Collision has become my weekly show now to watch in all things wrestling. Shout out because they're family on the Twitter. But I'll be there regardless after I come home, whether it's 11:30 or 11:45. I'll just be very hoarse because I'm sure I'm in for a very, very fun time.
There we go. And then, of course, the following weekend will be Bound for Glory coverage. Immediately following that on open mic night will be the Haunted Hangman. Got bumped up a week because of the contestants situation. It will be Emmanuel Dominguez, our current reigning and defending game show night champion, taking on his sister Arlene. in Haunted Hangman, which again is basically our version of Wheel of Fortune, just without a wheel to spin. So we'll throw up the word puzzles. Everyone will be guessing letters. You guess a letter incorrectly, it'll move to the other person. As long as you keep guessing correctly, I think we'll keep control with the person. I'm not sure how we're going to play that one out. May have to fine tune those details, but yeah,
We'll
just
figure it.
imagine Wheel of Fortune just without a wheel.
Yeah, and we'll figure it out. Or maybe it'll be like, each person will have their own hangman. And once their person has been fully disclosed, then maybe that's it. Just drop them in the bucket of water and they lose. So,
Something like
and
that.
that means the other person will be the only one left to continue going as long as they haven't, completed their hangman. And that way we find out if either wins or the board wins, basically. So that should be a very interesting thing. I'm looking forward to seeing how that gets executed. And if I have to create something, I will. And of course, Walter Cruz, Mr. Reliable, follow at Rage of Wrestling. He also is a co-champion, man, botch.
And then, of course, the 28th will be our Halloween special of Open Mic Night. Not going to be karaoke. That's next year. We're going to save Noah's voice for November when he has to do Disney karaoke.
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah. You even mentioned earlier, you talked about a whole new world. I thought you were going to break into some Aladdin song right there, bruv.
I hate how many freaking phrases are connected with Disney movies. Ugh. I'm a Cartoon
It's a
Network
small
Nickelodeon guy
world after all, Noah.
I will always be Cartoon Network Nickelodeon guy for life. Screw Disney.
Aww. Don't let Boss Man hear that. Huh?
Hey. I said what I said and I stand by it. Damn it.
But you digress.
You're damn right I digress.
So that's everything that's major coming up over the next month across the multiverse of media. Of course, you've got all of the normal stuff, Meech's Musing, Stat Boy Sports Bar. You've got Talk Wrestling. You've got my movie reviews on Renegades Reviews. You've got Noah's ATW View impromptus whenever he can get one together. You've got your simple takes, your simply predictings.
All the stuff. All the
wrestling, and sports entertainment.
Damn it. But I digress. And to your point, yep, the predicting, these are what's officially known. And knowing Madman Tony Khan, there might be one, if not two more, pay-per-views because we still have the tentative Ring of Honor Final Battle and winter is coming. And again, why I've watched final events, my voice is not going to let up anytime soon unless I lose my larynx. Bound for Glory, Turning Point, the Dynamite and NXT, Crown Jewel, Full Gear. We're going to be calling Thanksgiving. Yay! Survivor Series, Deadline, and of course, Halloween Havoc, which also is now known. One match made official for that. And again, like I said, Ring of Honor Final Battle, when it coming is tentative before we go into 2024. And it's already a top four, although one I truly care about more than the others because, again, I am a fan of professional wrestling, damn it. And it doesn't get more professional wrestling than Wrestle Kingdom 18 in Tokyo Dome. But I digress.
Can I ask you something real quick? Take the ticker down across the bottom and put up that graphic again with all the watch long events.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Beep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So we realize here that both AEW and WWE are going to be in Chicago the same week, right? Because that Thanksgiving Dynamite is in Chicago.
Ah, shit.
And Survivor Series is in Chicago.
Well, at least they're not in the same building, but yeah.
I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, got it. Why? Why does Chicago overbook wrestling?
And Bound for Glory is less than a month removed from AEW going back to Chicago.
Correct. The only difference is, again, 3 different buildings. Bound for Glory is in the Sierra Stadium. I screw up that name convention.
Botch.
I don't know how to say words. Words matter. I don't know how to say it. Wintrust Arena has AEW, and I think the All-State Arena has Survivor Series, right? Or is it a different building?
I think it's the All-State Arena.
I know it's not the United Center because that'd be crazy. Because the United Center has been AEW's home for who knows how long now. Maybe too much of a home. Damn it. But I digress. Yeah, that single week of Chicago is going to give a feast of wrestling. Why we are feasting and covering a food coma from Thanksgiving. Although the Thanksgiving food coma will come Thursday into Friday, so Saturday, which is the Survivor Series, I may be a little bit winded and tired. So Survivor Series, you better deliver. And I still don't know what the fuck they're doing this year with Survivor Series, and that pisses me off.
I have a feeling we'll find out soon enough.
Mm.
You know, if I don't want to say that, I have a feeling we'll find out by Crown Jewel what they're doing. I was about to say that if Cody isn't announcing the Dusty Classic, I almost think he's going to announce War Games on
Ah,
NXT.
that would make sense as well because his father was, of course, part of the original War Games.
Plus, the concept in WWE started in NXT.
Black and gold, real and regal.
Plus, exactly, I was going to say, plus Regal, notorious for running NXT, being the commissioner, and we all know Regal is back. He just can't come back on TV until the 1 year is up from being released from TK.
Right.
So that possibly could be the announcement if it's not the Dusty Classic, but we'll just have to see on Tuesday. But yeah, I have a feeling we'll know by Crown Jewel because you got to figure they're going to need those few weeks to build the card up.
Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a War Games, because I consider that they're only going to have one War Games match because it's not like they've done anything of massive value to give us a women's War Games. At this point, it's going to be Cody and company versus Bloodline and Judgment Day if this alliance thing comes more to fruition. And that comes down to Damian Priest's knee health, too. But again, speculating way beyond and still got to get for October. And I'm far more excited right now for Bound for Glory, considering we got Chris Sabin. Hell, Sabin defending the X Division Championship against Kenta. We have MK Ultra, Killer Kelly. Marsha Slavics defending the Knockouts for Tag Team Championship. That's women's tag team wrestling done right, damn it. Taking on
You know what?
Bianca.
After watching that reaction to Killer Kelly, I don't want to ever hear another word out of your mouth when me or Walter start getting excited for Jade or Natalia
There's something
Markova for
beautiful
James
about that
or
sadistic
something like
smile.
that.
Hey, here's the difference. Killer Kelly speaks volumes without saying a freaking word, and is one of the most dynamic strikers. And I like lethal women in wrestling presented properly. Plus, I'm a fan of Killer Kelly. I still am pissed off she never was asked to UK champion. That's a different conversation for another day. Again, open to mic night topic, folks. Women's wrestling, the state of it. Go check out the last episode, episode 88, where we discussed the four horsemen posse of this generation of NXT. But I digress. And as I was saying, the virtuoso, long may she reign. And alongside Tasha Steelz, not my type of flavor, but whatever. Taking on the MK Ultra for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. We have Will Ospreay finally going one-on-one with Speedball Mike Bailey. Will he still be, though, the NXT UK IWGP Heavyweight Champion, considering he's facing Zack Sabre Jr. this coming weekend at Rev Pro, defending his title? That remains to be seen. And also, of course, we are figuring out who's going to challenge for the Impact World Tag Team Championships, whether it's the Rascals or Sami Callihan and Rich Swann, defending against the ABC, Chris Bay and Ace Austin. And of course, as I said, Trinity's defending the Knockouts World Championship against Mickie James. And the main event, it is over 1 year to the day, but it's the one win he hasn't gotten yet. Alex Shea defends the Impact World Championship against the Iron Man, the Standard, the one he hasn't beaten yet, Josh Alexander. And of course, we have the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, where at least we know 10 of the 20 participants. Wouldn't surprise me if Rhino versus Steve Macklin was added to this card based on what I've seen lately. And also, we know in the Hall of Fame during the pre-show, inducted will be Tracy Brooks, by Gail Kim, and Don West and Mike Tenay, the immortal voices of TNA. And that is coming up on the Bound for Glory preview that I'm just so damn fucking excited to cover and call on October 21st with the Dilla. So stay tuned for more on that and simply predicting as well. And you had to do this for freaking yourself and Walter, really? Again,
I'm just saying, you want to talk about a smile. Look at her expression in that picture.
I mean, it's got to be surreal for her to be shaking hands with friggin' Triple H. I'm just going to say that for the record.
You want to talk about a smile.
Yeah.
Exhibit A, Your Honor, I rest my case.
At the end of the day, folks, be happy for the business. And if you support the talent, Don't look at the fucking company. Look at their fucking journey. But I digress. All right. Well, I think that's a good way to conclude soon. If people want to know more about me, as I think everybody who tunes in live or on demand, thank you, especially the Walter Cruz, has been part of the ride. I think the whole way. Know this, for I am but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! But I digress. So find me if you choose on the Twitter and on YouTube. Gotta update this graphic. And at Foster 1916 for all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, to the entire WWE family on the Twitter and our social media platforms. You can find the entire ATW View playlist on my YouTube. We just did an episode this past week. Me, Eric, and the King talking about women's wrestling, WRESTLEDREAM, Adam Copeland, contracts, the aspect of AEW versus NXT, and so much more too. And Eric did cause chaos as usual. God bless him, but also damn it, man. Please follow my friend America J, who continues to prove that Jay's worth more than gold in her wrestling journey across the pond in the UK. Hope to see her ascend to the greater stages of the industry soon, very soon too. Take care, my friend. All the best. Follow my solo YouTube channel if you choose for simple assessments like WrestleDream and all the biggest shows in all things wrestling. Of course, you also stay tuned for polls. You can stay tuned for forums for the 5 prediction leagues I host across the biggest companies in all things wrestling and updates as well too. So follow the Simple Man's brand in conjunction with the Deputy Director of Multiverse Media. As we always say, again, on behalf of all of us crazy yahoos that present our content and our passion to you, we thank you. You make it possible every time, and I assure you we're not letting up anytime soon. Check out AW Spark, presented by Owen, Zero, and the friends of NTW Productions, weekly, the conversation on all things, all elite wrestling. I think they just put out their latest episode. They definitely have carried the flagship that I started quite well. I'm very proud of them. Check out the newest affiliate, gotta update this as well, of the Multiverse of Mia, the Tiller, and her content at Rangers of Wrestling. All the Power Rangers and wrestling content you need. A lot of regular reviews. And again, shout out to Aaron Rissa, yes, no Q, but check out her weekly little stance at It's Wrestling Time for Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, SmackDown, and Collision at times 2. As always, you can find more of me and JJ calling our voices in all the biggest shows and all things wrestling. You got a glimpse of what's ahead in 2023. That's not even everything. That's not even the most current. So stay tuned for more on that. And again, Sleepy Didding is the flagship of my Super YouTube brand, where I welcome anybody with voices, fun, open-minded, conscious opinions. Yes, even you, Josh Mansfield. Watch if you want to be on, you just let me know too. Anytime I see the predicting. Primarily, I try to do it 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Friday night of the week of the pay-per-view, because I think that's best comfortable for my friends across the coast and across also, different time zones too. And you see the next Super Diddings to come. It is Bound for Glory. That will be October 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to be part of that conversation, just let me or JJ know. It is as simple as that. And even if you're camera shy, I just welcome your voice. And also, we will have a timer if you tend to be long-winded. God bless you. Also, stay tuned again. So much more to come up. Again, we are continuing our journey to 40, and I will probably collapse before we get to even 30 as we continue our way. And prior to this upcoming weekend, we will can in WrestleMania 3. There's a before us, Miracle Object. And as he alluded to, Randy Savage, Macho Man, taking on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Not going to lie, that's probably going to be my match of the night, my most anticipated match, considering how much people know I am a fan of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, but I digress. And of course, we got tons more matches to call for the members, as again, we do what we can with the time we are allowed it. But I know the rest of this evening we're going to relax too, because I have ribs and mac and cheese waiting for me and NJPW in the morning, where we will see if Josh Alexander and the Moisture Machine Guns will beat Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Tomohiro Ishii for the 6-minute weight championships in Ryogoku. I cannot wait to watch that show. That is 3:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for you crazy yahoos like me that watch Japan Pro Wrestling live. But as always, I'd like to conclude, there are no winners, there are no losers, there are no betters. Just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, treasure your families, and just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It is truly as simple as that. Now, with that being said, thank you so much once again for tuning in to another simple take and a simple, fun, extended conversation. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Hit the bell as video goes live on demand on either of these channels. Hit the subscribe button. Help us keep growing our YouTube community. As I assure you, our creative passion, our content is not let up anytime soon. As the 24th marks my 5-year anniversary in YouTube community content creativity. It's been a fun ride, and I'm not letting up anytime I assure you. On behalf of the Renegade Wrestling, JJ Williams, I am the Submit Noel Foster. Thank you once again for tuning in to another Simple Take. So until next time, we take the airways across the internet. I always leave you with this simple message. And stay tuned, by the way, for our next Simple Take. It will be WWE Fastlane, and that will be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday night. And we are also hashtag spoiler free for SmackDown. So I guess really until then, thank you for tuning in to Wrestle Dream. Dreams were fulfilled, and I'm curious to see what else comes to fruition. Make a positive impact in life, and have a good night, for we are fans of all things, all elite wrestling and beyond. Welcome to AEW, Adam Copeland. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good day, folks, and enjoy your Sunday. I just swear, if that freaking happens, I'm gonna lose it. We need some sort of Halloween-esque entrance for Adam Copeland. Just get the man there. That's all you gotta do. It's only a hop, skip away. All right, we're taking a little bit longer than expected. Bye, folks. Thank you for tuning in again.